right, we're back now with some breaking news regarding those apparent missing Epstein files related to President Trump. I want to bring in CNN correspondent Kara Scannell. Kara, you just got this update from the Justice Department. What are they saying?
Yeah, Casey, as you remember, CNN and other news outlets had reported that there appeared to be about 90 302s. Those are the FBI interviews with witness reports missing from the Epstein files that are publicly available, all coming from a privilege log that was turned over to Epstein's accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell's attorneys. 3 of those 302s that appear to be missing relate to a woman who claimed that she was sexually assaulted by Jeffrey Epstein and said that she was sexually assaulted by Donald Trump in the 1980s. Initially, DOJ said that the documents were either not posted because they were duplicative, they were privileged, or they were part of an ongoing investigation. We just got a new statement from the Justice Department where they say, as the Department of Justice has consistently said and has done since the January 30th, 2026 publication of the Epstein files, if any member of the public, including victims, reported concerns with information in the pages, the department would review, make any corrections, and republish online. Several individuals and news outlets have recently flagged files related to documents produced to Ghislaine Maxwell in discovery of her criminal case that they claim appear to be missing. As with all documents that have been flagged by the public, the department is currently reviewing files within that category of the production. Should any document be found to have been improperly tagged in the review process and is responsive to the act, the department will, of course, publish it consistent with the law. So now DOJ saying it is going to review this tranche of records that CNN and others have been able to identify based on the serial number, so it shouldn't be difficult for them to locate them in theory, and said that they will review them and then publish them if it is complying with the act. So we will wait to see what hits those public records in the next couple hours and days. Casey.
All right, fair enough. Kara Scannell, thanks very much for that reporting. Xochitl Hinojosa, you were kind of nodding along with Kara just because you worked at the Department of Justice. I think you have an understanding of what this is. I mean, she did a good job of laying it out, but I mean, why do we know these are there? What does it say that they're missing?
Well, it essentially is saying that there are these FBI files, that they're normally interviews of witnesses, et cetera, that I am assuming are potentially in other places within the FBI, et cetera. What I will say is that this entire thing and the fact that there have been the missing of these documents just shows how the Justice Department was not prepared to do this and why the Justice Department usually does not put out their case files, for a reason that case files live everywhere. They don't just live at the FBI. They're at the U.S. Attorney's Office, multiple U.S. Attorney's Offices, National Security Division, DEA, I mean, all of these places. And so when you say, I want every file on X issue, what ends up happening is that you are trusting all of these entities to come together and to give you those files. Yes, things will be missing. There are people in the National Security Division that are looking through each one of these files. There is human error. There are things like that. So what you're seeing right now, what we've seen over the last few weeks, is sort of this chaos and what happens because the Justice Department normally does not do this.
Yeah, but in this case, I mean, the reason, my understanding of our reporting is that this was a manifest that was given to Ghislaine Maxwell's attorney. So they should have known that it existed.
Yes, and they should have known. You're exactly right. I think that there will be questions about why was it missing, who left it out, why was it at some point taken out of the original tranche, and where did it originate from in the first place? So yes, there are those questions, but it also goes to show you that there isn't someone in there looking at each of these files to figure out whether or not that they've made public, they're in compliance with the law. And also in every one of these instances, I will say, how long have we been talking about this? If they would have released all of these files at once when they were supposed to be released, we wouldn't be talking about this past January.
Should there have been a special master or
yes,
something?
I think there should have been an independent person dealing with this.
Right, that sort of dealt with this.
Yes, an independent person who could have dealt with this.
Chuck, I want to go back to the point you were making before the break, which is this idea of the Epstein class, because, I mean, that really is the thing that has stuck out to me as we have learned more and more about this. Something that started in the realm where everybody wanted to call it a conspiracy theory, right? Both Democrats and Republicans that I talked to in this town would say that it was a conspiracy theory. There were people in the MAGA base for President Trump that really wanted these files out. His vice president was one of the loudest voices on this. And they come into office. They're somehow, not interested. The president is literally calling members of Congress into the Situation Room to convince them not to vote for a law that will ultimately release these files. Then we get the files, and it turns out that everybody that said these files showed something that really stank were right. They were all right. And for the President of the United States and his base, who are still saying that this is a problem for them, like, how does he keep going the way he's going in his regardless of whether or not he ever actually did anything wrong, right? We're not saying we saw something that's in the files that says Donald Trump, committed a crime, et cetera, et cetera. To Scott's point, there's, whistleblowing in there. But for his base that is saying, give us the Epstein class, and he doesn't, what problem does that create for him?
Well, I think it does create some problem with some parts of his base when they feel let down about another issue. It's just sort of like, over time that chips away. It becomes a trust thing. But, let me also step back. There was a lot of people that believed, a lot of strange things about Epstein. And so the craziest conspiracies have proven not to be true. But that doesn't mean what was done was not bad, right? Like and I think that this is why this has been why you've seen everybody handle this. It's not what people rumored and feared that it was, but it wasn't good. And so they've just been paralyzed by this. And I don't know how else to describe it, but you feel it. Let's not pretend the Biden Justice Department was paralyzed on this too.
Indeed.